So we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. I feel we finally got this episode 3 going.
It was a long hiatus for a new podcast, but we all needed to recharge our tanks.
Yeah, we had the holiday break, I guess, and
Been a tough year so far.
winter's finally warming up a little bit. Well, for me, not for you guys.
Not. Punxsutawney Phil saw his fucking shadow, and we're all doomed to another 6 weeks of this, which I happen to enjoy.
Right.
Pool business, dude. I don't want it to get warm outside.
Then you have to work.
Yeah. I don't want to work.
I want to be in a pool. Like, that's where I'm at.
You and all our clients.
What have we been up to? We've just recently had but the New Jersey area just recently had an alpha beta tournament, which is pretty cool. And Jared and I commented on that was fun. That was nice.
Will played it, Andy.
Who? Oh yes, that's right.
We unfortunately did not get him on stream early enough.
My deck was dog shit, but it was fucking awesome. So I get it.
It was bad.
Like at 2 a.m., like night before the tournament, telling me that I am limited to only 6 Orcish artilleries because I was planning on sleeping up 8. But, so yeah, the deck was just bolts, ices, power surge, cop red, some disenchants, a bunch of artilleries, some dragon whelps.
Yeah.
I won round 1, and then I don't know if I won again.
I mean, yeah, the artillery. I mean, did you feel like they're underpowered because they seem good on paper anyway?
They were good. I didn't win a single die roll all day, so
yeah. When you're drawing on the play, that's
key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one game where I thought I was going to win, and then my opponent time twisted and then slammed a winter orb and had an active icy, and that was just kind of over. And I was like,
and you're like, yo, power surge.
Yeah, winter orb is like literally the card you do not want to see when you're playing with power surge. It is the antithesis of power surge.
I thought the deck was a good idea with the power surge. Like artillery is a banger at red 1, obviously, with the cop reds in the deck, and power surge like in a format where like a lot of people are not gonna have fast mana, or the fast mana is actually restricted, right? So you can only have like Amox in your deck or whatever. So power surge seemed good. I thought it had problems with like regenerator decks where they could have like mana sinks, but I guess it was a little too slow on the day.
I'm not sure if Nick put out a tournament report on this or anything, but there is a video that he put up. He spliced up what we streamed and shortened it to 2 hours. Gave it an old kind of a vintage feel, low resolution, bad audio quality, and he sped up the videos. So.
Yeah, so Andy and I are talking like this the whole time while we're doing commentary.
Which I think is hilarious.
It adds value. Like people will probably like do that with our podcast anyway. So like I thought about that afterwards. Like, are people listening to this sounding like that anyway? Because that's what people do, right? If you listen to a 3-hour podcast, people listen to them on like 1.25x or 1.5x.
I might be the only one who listens to podcasts at normal speed.
I listen to normal speed.
I never even considered listening to anything other than normal speed.
Yeah.
So
today's day and age, people have little patience, and so they just speed up everything.
Not patience. It's just a time thing, right? Like I get to put like my Bluetooth headset on like a lot of days and like listen to podcasts for 8 straight fucking hours if I want to. But like most people can't do that. If you actually want to get through it, you gotta. But anyway,
right. I have a long commute, so I don't care about how long I'm actually thirsty. But We should just going back here. The people listening or watching to us are probably, they may be wondering who this gentleman is on the video feed from Jared's house, and who this new voice is. And because we're such a professional podcast here, we just kind of started talking, and in our defense, we've been talking for a while. So I forgot to do introductions. So my name is Andy Vaccaro. As you may already know, Jared Susney is my co-host. And today we're joined by Will Parshall, and a local Northeast Magic the Gathering player, which you guys, the two of you listening to this podcast, probably already know. But I just wanted to make sure everybody knew who was speaking. So now
everyone's favorite Spike, Will Parshall.
Everyone's favorite.
Right. Old school end boss. So now that that's out of the way, yeah, I think I was wondering about that too, and I enjoyed it made me laugh as I listened to us speak in 1.5 or whatever X speed that he had us on. I thought it was.
If anyone wants to watch the video, like Andy could probably add the links on the this
whatever it is that we put out there.
Well,
top tier commentary.
The commentary is, it's fine, but if you like watching like Timmy talks style like Magic, there's some good matches on there. It's worth the watch, especially all things considered on Brian Manalakis's very aggressive land distribution on the board while playing.
Oh, that was one of the best things.
Did you see that, Will?
I didn't.
Mana was like overly respecting the orb, so he's like literally putting his lands. If like Jeremy's sitting here, he's like putting his planes like over here and shit.
Okay. I was doing the same thing. I would actually ask my opponents. I was like, "Do you want to play this bullshit role, or can we just play normal Magic?" It's like, "Oh, I don't even have Chaos Orb in my deck." It's like, me neither. Let's just play normal Magic. But after my opponent almost 2-for-1 me once, I was like, fuck this. I had my shit set up in a grid. And I think at one point I just stopped using a playmat entirely because that was limiting on the amount of space that I was provided, and I was like getting my stuff into like other people's plays.
Mana was literally putting his basics in between Jeremy's creatures and his lands.
Very, very aggressive. Very aggressive.
I stuck my head out from behind my board, and I was like, "Man, I think you're breaking rule 1 of old school here." He goes, "What? That's not allowed."
Yeah. But it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I think we quickly realized why we play it the way we play it, as opposed to wherever it lands. You know.
Yeah.
Because that adds an element of chaos.
It is a chaos orb.
But it adds an element of chaos that is just not worth it for anybody.
Magic is already a difficult game, so add that another level of thinking and stuff that you have to keep track of is not where we want to be, I don't think. I mean, it's fun for a one tournament, I guess, or maybe one round, but after that, it's just we're so ingrained in thinking about other things and timing and sequencing and what the best play is. I just don't think we really want to do that. I mean, I don't want to do that, so.
And I need to keep all of my lands and my mana rocks in a nice pile.
Yeah, well, you're
overlapped,
obsessed
in a specific way.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't work out for me. But anyway, it was a fun event. It was cool to see that, and like in person, everyone bringing out their old stuff and jamming some jank. A lot of psychic venoms.
Lot of psychic venoms.
Oh, I got smashed by a personal incarnation.
Was that Cresco?
No, Ben Katz.
Oh. Okay. I don't even think I saw Katz's deck actually.
He was just playing like a red-white mid-range, Juggernauts, Sarahs, Swords.
That's more or less what Cresco was doing as well.
Yeah, they were similar. I don't know what the differences were exactly, but it was definitely a similar strategy for sure. So. Oh, another one of my angles that I was shooting was I was putting my best cards right on the edge of the table, right in front of me.
Oh,
Honestly,
so the chaos orb would fall.
Put the lands out by them, but like I would have my cards right on the edge of the table. Like my artilleries and power surge, whatever, is like just all like right next to me, so they're hardest to hit. So I don't know. It's the spike in me, I guess.
For anyone interested, they should check it out. I mean, if anything, watch the finals, which was a Psychic Venom v Psychic Venom heads up match, and it was riveting to say the least. They went to the full 5 games, and it was you know.
That I've heard stories, and I've never back in when I first started playing, I never actually saw it, but people would play with a kind of little board at an angle. So you would put the cards on the board, so it would be impossible to Chaos Orb thing. And it's just hilarious the level
Really?
that people would go to, but I don't know if that's true or not. But you'd almost have a board like at a 45-degree angle or something, and you can put your cards there, but you can't hit it
So
with the Chaos
it
Orb.
slides off.
It slides off, yeah. So
That's,
I don't know how true that is, but it's funny.
It's one of those things where you think you're being clever, but you just look like a giant dink.
Pretty much. But if you're playing for ante, it's kind of okay, whatever. Fine.
So anyway, that happened.
So let's what you guys probably know Will as a longtime Magic player, but you may not know that he has dabbled in the card alteration field. And he just shared with me his Yagmoth Demon Altars on Facebook. You guys can log in and take a look at some of this altar work that he's been doing, which is pretty cool. It's basically Yawgmoth but without the W. So just search it there. And well, you're gonna show us? Just put it on the camera. Just show me. He showed us earlier what he brought. These are some of the stuff that.
Here. Well, here, do you want to do it?
oh yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
So
these are a couple that are getting picked up from some folks that are swinging through here next week.
So that's a nice Sage.
Sage-a-lat man
With the trike head on the old meat hook massacre back there.
There's a little Necronomicon JMD tomb that he's reading from.
Yeah,
did
that's
a Hercule just surrounded by
Down
pot
a
plants,
little
ripping a
bit.
bowl. Ooh,
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The colors on that one are awesome. I think that one's really sweet.
Yeah, the camera's not doing much justice, but you get the idea. Yeah, there, like, yeah. So it's like nice copy artifact.
I'll send you some photos to do video overlays, Andy, because I know you like spending countless hours doing that.
Yeah, but how's that been? Is that something you've dabbled with, like altar wise, for a long time, or
no,
just kind of jump in recently?
So I over the summer, we had an old order cabin, and I decided I wanted to do a card for everybody at the cabin.
Oh, okay.
So I did like 22 different cards. Had never drawn on a magic card other than like maybe with a Sharpie or something like that. Hadn't really drawn anything in 20 years, maybe longer than that. But I realized it's just like really fucking therapeutic, really nice.
Yeah.
And I'm not totally terrible at it. And so I gave everybody at the event a card and just kind of kept going with it. And people encouraged me to start putting my shit out there and try and get some money for it. I don't charge like a lot, but it's pretty cool. People have been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it. It's helping me build my collection a little bit. Always willing to trade altars with other people, or just trade for other cards to alter or play with or whatever, you know. But it's been a nice little hobby since the summer.
Yeah, I'm looking at your, what is this, Rick and Morty Amnesia? I'm on your
he actually made stickers of that.
Actually, there's a sticker in this sleeve.
Yeah, I already put mine on my guitar case.
Nice.
Yeah, but you can reach out to Will directly, and he'll mail them to you.
I'm about out of stickers, but I'm about to get more printed. And this time, hopefully, there will be a QR code on the back, so people can just
There you go.
like take the link and go right to my Facebook.
I will say this: Will was here last summer around that same time, and he had his Poscas with him and was dabbling on some basic lands. And the real saving grace was it's the quietest he's ever been for like 3 straight hours.
Yeah,
It's like
man. I got the zone.
where'd Will go? I don't know. Oh, he's over there. He's in the corner.
He was definitely in the zone. But I mean, I gotta say for this guy, like, yeah, he like literally never painted on anything, and like he's like better and better. Like every time he sends me like a photo of one of his cards. So
Let's go. I mean, well, clearly you have artistic talent, and I think the more and more you do, you probably, you said you haven't done it in 20 years, right? The more and more you do, you get better at it.
Yeah, I used to be really into
So-
art back in high school, but then started having kids and life and all that.
Yeah. We forget you forget to make time, I guess.
I think I just lost the ability to connect with the work itself. Like I just lost the patience or the appreciation for the process or whatever it was. I just didn't feel that connection to artwork anymore.
like being in all these events and seeing all like the deck photos, like people's decks like in front of you with all these like altar works and everything, it's probably like motivating to like if it's something you're interested in to do that. Just being kind of imbued with it all the time. Like yeah, it's very rare you go to an event and don't have at least half the people playing that have like some level of like altars in their decks at this point. So
Oh yeah, I mean altars and prize cards. That's like what it's about for me.
Sure.
And old school is collecting all this ridiculous shit. So excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. But Jared just gave me this Shaman Ben swamp. I had given him a swamp.
we did
But
trade
Shaman Ben kind of was like the inspiration, just seeing all these things. And at the sister's cabin last year, I finally got my first Shaman Ben card. It was part of the prize pool. It was an Italian psychic purge, and I was like, this is like the coolest fucking thing ever.
And Andy called us psychic venom a psychic purge.
It's a slip. It's a whatever, man. Let's just move on.
How many psychic cards are there?
I need to-
just in old school.
I need to stick that dig in there. But anyway,
There's one more. It's psychic allergy.
it's like, ooh.
But
No need to alter that bad boy.
it's I don't even know what that. I don't even remember what that does, but I do remember the picture. But yeah,
You don't remember what it does?
no.
It's 2 blue 3 enchantment, and when it comes into play, you have to sacrifice 2 islands during your upkeep, or 1 island during your upkeep, and it does damage to your opponent equal to the number of that color permanents they have in play. So you pick like red, and they have like 5 red things. It's the card's completely unplayable.
All right, that's why. I
The,
don't remember.
the artwork, the Teaden artwork on that card is
Top
awesome.
tier. Yeah.
But anyway, he got an Italian psychic purge.
And then I got an ATOG at MobsterCon, and now I got this colorful swamp. But it's cool, It's like the altar thing's interesting. I just did a trade with Merhans from the Discord. Just sent him some Mistress Factories that I did. He sent me some German Serendipity fruits. So that's pretty cool,
Moran's is a German guy named Mario. So if you're not familiar, he does a lot of really cool line work. Like he'll very often like write over the text on the cards, and it's like very specific, like kind of font over. He does an insane job at it. Like everyone is like picture perfect, but he'll also do like line work over the arts. He's not so much into doing like full card alterations. He is like, well, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I will. But like, he's altering the original art as opposed to putting new art on the card, if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay. I still sound like an idiot saying that, but anyway.
I mean, he does do like ritual,
Yeah.
like full blown.
Yeah, he's like the stained glass stuff as well. There's most of it's doing the text alterations and like the line drawing alterations like over the OG artwork, which looks really really cool.
Definitely does. I'm excited to be getting some original art dibs. I've actually done a couple sets of dibs and I'm using a set that I've done. But I don't like using my own altars. I like using other people's altars. You know, I want my altars to go out in the universe, and then whatever comes back to me comes back to me. But
Yeah, I've definitely heard the name, but I have to look up the I guess Merhan's his work. But there's a lot of different artists out there, and you know, I'm not as plugged into it as you guys, but
you just go ahead and say you don't like altars. You don't like
listen.
You don't like people who have altars. You don't like people that do altars.
I don't know about not liking people who I don't I don't know about all that, but you know, some people are into it, some people are not. I'm of the other school, but
yeah.
I remember back in 2016 at Eternal Weekend, they handed everybody a dust to dust at Jacob's event.
Ooh.
And the point of the card was to get everybody to sign it.
Right.
It was like, why? Like, as spiky as I appear to be now, it was way worse back then.
It's so funny, right? Because like no one at that time, no one was doing that. So it's like weird. Like, why are you all putting marker all over this thing? And now it's like literally the best part about every Magic event, right? It's getting a card signed with everybody.
Now everybody's like, why aren't you doing that?
Right. So 2016 Eternal Weekend Jaco event at, I believe it was the Gordon Biersch in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's got this dust to dust. I'm getting people to sign my dust to dust. I'm sideboarding out my fucking Chaos Orb because I'm too drunk to be able to flip the thing. I'm like, this card sucks. I'm just going to keep burning people and hope they don't play well. But then it became tradition. Like, I'm not saying I didn't play old school in the interim, but then the following year was my next event. 2017 Eternal Weekend was in Pittsburgh that year. But that year, there was then an Eternal Central stamp on an Argothian Pixie. No. Yes, Argothian Pixie was the card for that year. So then that's kind of where the stamp thing came from, and now all the event cards are stamped. But this one...
Remember the great revelation that Pixies was good?
All of the creatures in old school are fucking terrible.
Well, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a thing that's happened like in the last 10 years. Like, oh shit, Pixies.
I do love.
I think it was a hymn. It was a hymn to Torok. There it is.
Oh, look at this guy.
I don't have the Pixies. I remember that because I remember. Look at this. Look, I get to show off. See, that's most creatives. I think I got 7th or 3rd or something. I can't even tell. There's so many. There's so many. No, it's Palladium Wars.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that is the Palladium Wars.
So your signature, Will, is probably on there somewhere. I don't know where, but.
You'd have to send us a high-res scan of that. That's not going to work. It's already got the pentagram on there, so Will's there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's already a pentagram on there, it's like, I'm not even fucking time.
It's there, yeah.
If you ever see any Magic card with a pentagram drawn on it, that's my signature. I actually updated my signature to be a W, but also a pentagram. So that's the 2024 new technology.
Very easily recognizable.
I think my only issue with altars is that like I love them, I love the artwork, but the problem is like I'm also like a deck photo pervert. So like if I like look at a deck photo and like I don't know what a card is, I just get immediately aggravated for no reason. But also it's like you can appreciate it, but like still not have it be for you, which is like I guess is probably where Andy's at. Probably not as aggressively hating as everyone else, but
right.
Yeah, the tattoo cards are great. It took me a little bit to get on board with it, but I'm a big fan of collecting the tattooed cards over the years.
Yeah, the problem with the tattooed card around here is because like they just add crap to the pools. Like, what am I gonna like? I mean, I guess Healing Salve is a bad example, but it's a revised one. Like, who's putting a revised card in the pool? Like, we got to like mandate like all these cards always have to be Swedish. Like,
It doesn't necessarily always have to be
always.
But
crack down.
You shouldn't be putting a fucking revised Healing Salve anywhere near a prize pool.
Yeah,
we could agree on that.
Yeah. Let's talk about this recent Toronto event that you went to and you had the privilege of going to. How was that? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm glad I put together these show notes, which specifically had talking about Will's altars at the end of the podcast.
It's gotta be very organic. We're trying to go with the flow here.
I'll keep writing up. I'll keep writing up the show notes. But anyway, yeah. So Will went to Toronto.
I did go to Toronto, and they let me over the border, which was cool. I wasn't sure if that was going to fly, but
and they let you back. So,
and they let me back in. Yeah. So Raymond Mitchell, awesome fucking dude. He reached out to me like probably around Thanksgiving and was like, "Hey, dude, we're having an event. I want you to come up. You could crash." So I was like, "Cool, 6-hour ride. I'll fucking be there," you know. So I take the ride up, hang out at Ray's for the weekend, and then we just played a bunch of Magic. At some point, I was just getting stoned while him and his son were playing Pokemon Go. We're just driving in circles for like 4 hours because there was a big Pokemon Go thing going on.
The Bottomless Vault does not condone drug use. I just want to say that.
What was?
Sorry, it's very legal there.
It's very legal here.
No, it's nationally legal.
Oh, Canada. Okay.
Yes, I will not discuss.
What was the event like? What was the name of the? I guess we should talk about what the name of the event was.
Is there a group in Toronto? Like, is it affiliated with like a?
So it's the group hosting it was the Oshawa Scavenging Folk.
Okay.
So that's a smaller town, probably a half hour outside of Toronto.
Okay.
If I recall correctly.
They got to start getting their swag out there. I haven't heard of them yet.
Right. And I got a shirt while I was up there.
Oh, sick.
But so the event was Boreal, 4-strip, everything goes. It's a Wild West up there. They're really big into that format. And so we show up and I'm doing my ATOG thing, having some beers, hanging out, having a great time. I end up making the top 8. I lost in the semifinals.
How many people at the?
I think close to 50 registered.
Okay.
There was definitely more than 40 players.
Where's that?
And it was at like a British style pub.
Oh, cool.
And the guy who was the manager of it was also playing in the tournament.
Oh, dope.
So
That's cool.
It was really cool. But they have like there's like a tight knit like group of guys that have been playing Magic up there for a while. I believe Rob Hackney is from there. He was co-hosting the event with Raymond Mitchell. Rob ended up winning his own event, which is kind of funny.
Cool.
Just like Sister's own Seth Roncaroni.
Yeah. This is the one on this is at the end of December, right? Like December.
Yeah, right before Christmas. And
Okay.
it was cold. It was very cold. Minus, I think it was like minus 20 Celsius up there, which is.
To my knowledge, it's always that temperature in Canada. But
it was that temperature here too, to be fair.
Yeah.
In the Poconos, it was like very comparable. I think it was just an extra cold snap going on.
It was the same polar vortex.
It was not good. It was not good at all. my nose hairs were freezing every time I went outside to smoke a cigarette.
You got to go the wintertime. You got to go south, and then you go up in the summer. That's the way to do it.
Like I mentioned before, I'm going to Phoenix in a week. So
I feel like if you're going to play an event in Canada, you want to go when it's like Canadian weather, you know?
Well, when is it? March 31st, the Thunderwolves event?
Yeah.
No, did I say
Yes.
March? May 31st. So I'll be up there for that. And I'm hoping it won't be that cold there.
Let's stay on task here. So you
Okay,
you top aided.
I did. I was playing Dibitog, you know, just, bolts, chains, side blast, black laces, relic barriers.
Again, everyone's favorite spike.
Yeah, it's nothing creative. Just a bunch of good cards piled on top of each other. I played against shops a lot. I had a Hercules in the sideboard that I got a lot of mileage out of.
Sure.
End of turn Hercules.
Love that.
Draw 7. And then, yeah, it's not very hard to win those games. You know? I think I played against shops 3 or 4 times that day. It was a proxy-friendly event. So
everyone can play shops.
So as many people played shops as wanted to play shops. Even with the proxies being available to me, I had no interest in playing that day.
Have you played much Boreal, Andy?
No, I was just thinking about that. How is it different from? It's very similar to Atlantic. Is my impression, or totally different, or what?
It's like four of everything.
4 of everything.
Yeah. No. Well, it's like, okay. So there's Eternal Central, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah.
But in Eternal Central, Recall and Time Vault are restricted. Boreal, they don't care. 4 of those 2. You want to play Total Vault and 4 Strip? Have at it. It's probably not the most busted thing you could be doing, so why not? You know?
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's the least prohibitive old school format that exists.
And they have unlimited playgrounds.
Oh, okay.
Is it unlimited playgrounds?
I think it is, because like who cares at that point, right? But I mean I've not got to play it obviously because literally no one plays around here, but I think it's definitely opens up the like brew space quick.
I know we're jumping all over the place, but I do want to just throw a quick shout out to the guy at that AB40 event that had 3 swamps, a bunch of rituals and plague rats.
Yeah.
And was just really using that all land, no land rule to the max.
Yeah, so this guy, and he came in from Andy's locale, and if you listen to the commentary, actually Nick edited in a video of his deck tech in this. So if you're interested in this, but there was an all land, no land mulligan rule. So like the only way you could mulligan is either or. I need to show your opponent, obviously. So this guy, Jonathan, right, Andy?
I believe so. He goes by Pejoculent on Discord, but
that's a whole other thing. I'm not gonna. Touch
yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you know why? Because that's his last name. I remember saying something about that. I'm like, this kid was that in high school. His last name's like Joculent or something.
Right.
Yeah. So
well, anyway, yeah, he's local to here, and I'm not entirely sure. I guess he really wanted to play Alpha Beta. I don't know if there's any other reason for him to go all the way up there.
Up with actual 18 Beta Dark Rituals, and then what would the numbers line up to be? It was 18.
I think it was 14 Plague Rats or something along those lines.
It had to be a 40 card deck, and I know we only had 3 swamps, so that's 21. So it had to be 19 of something or other. But he had more Dark Rituals than Rats, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. He really tried to take advantage of that no land mulligan. So
he had 9 power on the board in the game he wound up being on camera. So 9 power on the board turn 1. So like that's
I don't know how you beat that. That's incredible.
He did say in his interview with Nick that he wound up mulliganing like 25
25 times. Man, I don't understand. I'm just not showing land.
In 5 rounds.
I'm not here trying to do the math on how often it happens, but
he actually apparently did the math. I guess he has some sort of math or science or computer science background. So he set up a program he wrote a script that like
iterated this to figure out like what the optimal number is in terms of like how many times you have to mulligan to be able to get that play where he was able to cast the optimal amount of rats on turn one. So like go ahead. Sorry.
Such a Magic player thing to do.
Yeah.
This is very reminiscent of how often do you mulligan for the Bizarre and Dredge, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody has to crunch the numbers. But,
and the correct answer is you always mulligan for the Bizarre, but it's like how many times until you find it, I suppose. You know.
I'm glad he got to do his thing on camera. Otherwise, it would have been very boring. It would have been like, what does this deck even do? He needs to play more lands.
He got interviewed in the magnificent wizard robe that he wore to the event as well. So,
right, correct.
Look great.
Correct.
So, Parshall top aided as he does.
I ended up losing to the guy.
You have mice for that?
No, I poured in the remnants of my slurp.
Okay, you're doing it right.
So
another can. I got shitloads of those.
I'm good.
I'm trying to be a good host here, you know.
I appreciate it. He knows I love my Dr. Pepper, especially the little captain in it.
Right.
But so the last round of the Swiss, I played against a louder deck, the blue-white deck with lions and dibs and
not
enough land. Definitely not enough land, but whatever. Too many Sarahs for 4-strip, in my opinion. But still pretty good deck. You know, it's got all the good blue cards, all the good white cards. So had a really tight match against him last round, and then a really tight match where I got just blown out by like an 8-for-1 balance.
Ooh.
And that sent me packing. I did not bounce back well from that. So
the moral of the story is though, Will walked away with a Mox Emerald from this event, which was supposed to be the top prize, right? So what happened with that?
Okay, so there was a rebacked Mox Emerald. It was altered by, is his name Enzo?
Enzo, yeah.
Enzo.
German guy. Does very abstract alters.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking thing.
Yeah.
And as I said, Rob won his own event. Rob didn't really care to keep the emerald, so I think my prize was a revised scrubland. So we did a little bit of a swap. And
okay, makes sense.
I ended up leaving with a Mox Emerald.
If you're gonna drive to Canada, you want to leave with the Mox. I mean, yeah. I feel like anyone that drives to Canada should be handed a Mox on the way back home.
And actually, and then after the event, got back to Ray's house, and I stamped it with their Oshawa Scavenger Folk stamp. Let me pull it out of my bag. I got it right
He's
here.
got it with him.
Oh, you have it with nice.
Yeah, I brought my cards because I figured might play a couple games against you.
We're gonna push my wife to the absolute limits once this pod's over.
You got to do it.
I don't, but
I mean, I can go home. It's only 45 minutes.
No, we're gonna play some games.
I did not stamp it that well, but there it is. It's pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
It's a mock.
That's pretty cool. So that
how many people win a Mox from an event? Not many. I mean, those pre-modern types are always winning diamonds, but this is way better than that.
Huge value. Yeah. Good stuff.
It's a second piece of power in my quest for power that is damaged by the Magic community. I do have somewhere in this box an Ancestral that is pretty beautiful too. It's a CE Ancestral.
Oh, that Ancestral looks familiar. I remember seeing a picture of that in a prize pool once. Where's that from?
That was the old order cabin.
Oh, right. Okay.
I was mentioning.
I remember that.
That's a Mike France erased CE
Clipped.
ancestral.
Yeah.
CE flipped erase.
I remember seeing a picture of the prize pool, and I was like, "Wait a second!" And I zoomed in. I'm like, "You guys are insane!" And then he texted me back, and France was like, "No, it's CE. It's not really unlimited." I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess that's better."
They call them lady boys in Thailand.
Lady boys.
What the ancestrals, the power that's
You
whiteboarded?
think it's one thing, but it's something else.
Oh, okay. I see.
Edit that out.
I got catfished.
You're making us feel weird with your hat on. Just embrace your baldness like we are.
No, dude, I'm like crazy. I'm crazy with keeping it like shaved, and I got like stubble up there
Dude,
right now.
I'm way more stubbly than you.
I know, but like my dad like right now is really messing with my hygiene. Like I literally have baby vomit like all over my sweatshirt right now, which is
It's good luck. It's good luck.
it doesn't smell like good luck.
Right.
Formula or breast milk or whatever.
So shout out to the. I guess it sounds like a great tournament. It was a one. Shout out to the Oshawa Scavenger folk, and I'm sure we'll be hearing about more events from them and stuff. How big is how many guys do they have up there? I mean, you mentioned Hackney. There's what is it, like 10 guys up there, or
I'm not sure.
guys or girls? I don't know.
Well, like, because I know that. Excuse me.
Smokers.
I know. Yeah, that's like I'm getting over a cold and smoker's cough and whatever, you know. So I think Toronto also has their own group,
Right.
and then there's
Montreal guys and
I'm not local to this community. I don't.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know all the ins and outs of what they got going on.
The thing about Canada is all Americans know the names of the towns and everything, but we don't actually know where anything is in relation to
yeah, nothing.
I don't. I consider myself to be very good with U.S. geography.
Sure.
But as soon as you go over that line into Canada, I don't know where anything is.
Nobody knows. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think.
All very confusing.
If you gave me a map and told me to point out which one's Saskatchewan or which one's Manitoba, like I might have a sporting chance, but
yeah, I don't.
It was like Rob flew in because it was like for Christmas or whatever, and he's from there. He lives on the other side of the country now. Like,
he's in Vancouver.
Right?
I think he's British.
Again, does not compute. Does not compute. He's on the left coast.
He
now.
basically lives in Washington State.
So yeah, it's.
But I'm sure. Yeah, but I'm sure if they got what do you say, like 40 people out there, I'm sure we'll be hearing from them. I haven't heard from them, but
he said 50 registered.
Oh, 50. I'm sorry. So
I think we were at like around 40 for the event, so it was pretty cool. And the prize support was great. They kind of took the approach of let's just put all of the prize entry or all the tournament entry right into the prize pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
back in the day instead of playing for charity and walking away with a scribbled on lightning bolt or whatever. As Nana would say, you know.
Well, it sounds like they put up the prizes even before they had anybody sign up. So
they have a less need for charity in Canada because their social net is so much better there. Like we're here in America, like you need charity everywhere because no one gets anything. But in Canada, everyone's taken care of.
It's a different,
albeit at a much higher tax rate now.
Right.
Right.
And that trickles down to local old school Magic the Gathering prize pools.
Right. Exactly. So
as it should.
I mean, I'm always down to try and win a sweet card or just receive a sweet participation card. You know,
yeah.
It's really just the passport of old school. You know, it's like I don't know if I would remember half of the events that I've been to if I did not bring a card home with a stamp and a bunch of signatures all over.
Oh yeah, I remember that card. Yeah, I remember that event. Whatever.
I tell you every event that I got, every single one of these cards that I have, and I have like well over 100 of them at this point. Like some events, you end up walking out with a few or whatever it is, but like for me, it helps me keep track of everywhere that I've been.
Right.
So,
because he wouldn't remember otherwise.
I mean, if anyone who's listening knows me, you know how I go. You know, it's like I'm going pretty hard.
I will say I love smashing these index whenever I can. So this is from that 80-40 event we were just talking about. I was, even though I didn't play, they gave me this sweet beta weakness, and they had all the Poscas out, so it's got sweet colors all over it. So like, yeah, it's awesome to cast one of these things and bring back the the memories of the event or whatever.
Yeah, it was great for me because I did so poorly in that event that I got wheeled back. So I picked a twiddle, and then it came back to me, and I got a false orders too. It was like, I don't own false orders, so now I own false orders.
I realized I punted by taking because weaknesses are like I have it in my 7-point deck, but I really should have taken a false orders because there were still 2 left at the point where they gave me a card.
Would you like to trade?
Trades.
I have to see it. It depends. It depends.
I don't have it on me. That one I don't have on me.
So Jared, what you're saying is that you got to pick a card for a commentator, but I got nothing. I was doing pro bono work.
Message me your address and you.
Way to pick a card for me, Jared. Good looking out.
I put that out there, Andy. But
I'm teasing.
They weren't having it.
Yeah, as they should.
There was no green cards left at that point. If it makes you feel any better.
Good call.
I'm sure you would have taken a false orders though.
Good call.
So,
but
Mike France, hot technology right there. The false orders. False orders on deck.
False orders, dude.
So good. But yeah, but I totally agree with that. Like having that card is just it's like a trip down memory lane because you don't remember sometimes, and it's good to have something to be like just jog that memory about like, oh yeah, I went to this tournament and this is what happened, this is what I got. So it kind of makes you relive it in a way. And I keep all my prize cards and participation cards in a binder, and it's good to look at every once in a while. So I totally identify with what you're saying. Sometimes
I've gone completely over the top with it too. Andy will tell you, like, we probably covered this when we did YetiCon, but like I went around, I stole Andy's pen and made sure I went around to every single person that was in the room, because like very often people will forget, or like people are having a good time or whatever, and like, oh no, that was the one where like not everyone had signed the cards. Very often they'll sign them at the door, you know what I mean, or whatever. They just gave you a Mountain Yeti, right? And it's like if you're playing people, you give them a sign or whatever. So like I was waiting for them to do the prizes at the end, and I just went around like very annoyingly, just jumping in the middle of everyone's conversation, like signs, and like the thing is completely saturated now. Like I don't know, it's such a nice thing to have. For anyone that hasn't played any events yet, it's like one of the best parts for me now is getting that participation card with everyone's things on it.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't remember what happened until you see the card. I remember. Will, do you remember we were at LobsterCon? I don't know if it was a year ago or I think it was probably like 2 years ago, and we had a long conversation about this is the year you played Candle Flare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember we had a long conversation at the at the bar after the tournament, and you were talking about your deck and how you were trying to kind of spice it up for that tournament, and you were like, man, I really wish I did better. I really wish that like I
had wished that I had gotten a spice prize for that, because that's probably about as spicy.
You're like, this is about it. I'm not going any more than this.
I'm trying here.
Yeah, I'm really trying.
I have
the needle for Parshall is like full 8,000 RPM playing Power Surge and Candelabra.
Come on, guys.
So I did do the Lich thing at Paul's event back in was that right before COVID, 2020, or whatever.
Which one was this one?
Scryings.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like the the same weekend
Mhm.
as the first GloryCon. So I played Twiddlevolt at GloryCon and then played Lich the following day in Scryings. And so I would say that maybe Lich was probably the spiciest thing that I've done in old school.
Yeah,
But um,
that event may have been one of the first Grinders events ever. I think it was before. It was
I think it was the
2000.
first stateside Scryings event.
Yeah,
So there was literally no data points on the format at all. Everyone was just coming in hot. And much like MobsterCon, where it was like first team unified Scryings event, just it's I love old school, and I don't really have any interest in playing with the new cards at all. It's like I'll play some pre-modern, like that format still has nostalgia for me, but um, beyond that, I'm good. But
So-
one of the things that's very
So if
limiting
someone stuck a
about-
holiday cube under your nose, you would not want to participate. I find that hard to. I find that hard to
I
believe.
would play the holiday cube.
Cube doesn't count. Cube doesn't count.
20% of the cards in there, I just don't even know what they do. But
Sure.
um,
BRB. Continue.
yeah, but that's one of the things that does make me sad a little bit is that we don't have we get creative with old school, but we don't have a lot to like actually really like brew for and innovate. And I mean, there's a lot of variations of old school, but after one event or 3 events or 5 events or a few seasons, if it's like leagues or whatever, a lot of things end up becoming solved. So that's one of the things that I do miss about like playing Magic is the brewing and the innovation, because this is like old school's a format now that not only playing it back when it was currently being released, we've kind of been playing the same thing depending on who you are. But I mean, I've been playing old school for 10 years, so it's like I've kind of played with all kinds of wild shit at this point.
But even that, for people who have been playing for so long, I feel like we've gotten to the point where the events are different in their own unique way, that it makes it tolerable, right? Because I mean, you're always going to have your LobsterCon, your NoobCon, whatever, classic formats, but all the events nowadays are just, there's a little twist to it, which kind of brings a little bit of novelty and makes it not boring. Not that it's going to be boring because you're there with friends and you're having fun, but
the
as far
magic
as
is gathering. I will say that. I'm not saying that it's boring or it's dry. Just in preparation for MobsterCon, it's like team unified. I put a lot of time and energy with my team, Dan and Todd. Like we put a lot of back and forth into that, and that was really cool, like brewing and theory crafting and stuff. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but like for the traditional formats, I know what deck I'm going to play before I even sign up for the event. As soon as it's announced, it's like, okay, it's 4-strip. I'm going to play a tug because that's what I play.
Right, but nobody does. I mean, not a lot of people are doing traditional formats anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's only like the big tournaments, right? The rest of the formats, the rest of the tournaments that are being run have their own twist, whether it be unified or scryings or whatever it is. People have gotten to the point where they're changing it up. So, I think it's still there.
And the format of the events is changing too with the clubs, like Lady of the Mountain last year with the Sisterton and the Decks to Beat. What was that called? The Inquest Decks to Beat.
Oh yeah, shout out to Adam Mercado. He had the idea of reprinting the Scrying's decks. I think the name of the article is Decks to Beat. I'm not sure if that. Or something like that, where they would print out.
From Inquest?
It was Inquest, yeah. Inquest. Yeah. The early Inquests, they would put out a column saying these are the decks to beat, and they would present you with supposedly competitive decks that are not competitive at all, but for the day.
Like a 72 card stasis pile that you don't know you're walking into backwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sure.
Highlight of the weekend for me was just casting reverse damage when Dom Dot went to do like some big ice cauldron lava burst at me, and I was like, I'll just gain that instead. Like
Seems good.
Whatever the deck that I had was, I can't even remember what half the cards are called. Martyr's Cry.
It had Martyr's Cry in it.
Maybe that's not it.
Martyr's Cry is the like two white 2 where like all white creatures are destroyed, then you draw a card for every card.
Yeah, I had that. I had that.
Okay. Decks to beat.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
It was something, but gaining 20 life or whatever off of an ice cauldron lava burst was chef's kiss. That was pretty cool. So, but I mean, that keeps it interesting. And then in addition to those things, we also do a cube draft. So
yeah, a lot of different stuff, or at least stuff you don't see often.
Variety.
Right. So that's cool. I like that.
You spend 7 hours making a collage.
I spent that time in the hot tub by myself, just hot tub.
So speaking of kind of keeping it different and newish formats, why don't we talk about AAA? Have you guys been? Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so my first experience with it was at GloryCon this past year, and the first person I played against was Brian Limbacher, one of the Cincinnati guys, and
of the S. Garfield Enchanted podcast.
And
shout out.
So someone handed me a deck to play against him, and then I beat him, and he's like, oh, well, here's these Eben Moxes. He's like, because you beat me, you get some Eben Moxes. And these Eben Moxes are totally broken. They're like a Mox, plus they have an ability. So the Cincinnati guys have a different rules addendum than other guys, and it depends on where you go as to how people want to play it. Like up at LobsterCon, people are playing a 4-strip version, whereas Cincinnati Dark Ritual is restricted. A lot of cards are restricted just to keep the games more interesting and balanced.
Yeah. I mean, Ritual is really busted to have in a situation like that. So if you haven't listened to Brian's pod or know the Order of the Ebon Hand guys, so they basically added the Moxen into the card pool. They had them printed out, and they've more recently, I think, expanded it to like the full Power 9, right? They have like everything too. But they modeled their Mox off of the Fallen Empire's like sack artifacts, or to an extent. They're not the same, but like they added like a slight element of power to the deck, and it's something fun that like stays with like in the community, right? Because they've only printed so many of these, right? They made like 20 or 50 of them, and they're kind of like dispersing out, over the country. But like most people don't have access to those. I mean, it's a cool thing, but it just
like I said, I was fortunate enough to get them. From the source. So throughout the year last year, the old order played quite a bit with these, just playing it. And the thing is, even if you don't have them, if they're allowed, you could be playing for one,
Sure.
So like you could end up anteing your Mox. And I had a game where I won one off of France, and then we ended up doing some sort of trade. He's like, well, I need my deck to still be fully powered. So I ended up trading for an unlimited demonic tutor that he had already hole punched as being one of his cards for
moderately played.
Yeah, well, his anti-deck he likes to keep on a keyring.
Right.
So it doesn't everybody, you know. So my regular demonic tutor that I use now is altered by him and has a hole punch in it. That's what lives in my day-to-day old school deck.
Like the nerdiest janitor.
Yes, the nerdiest janitor.
But, always ready to get a game.
Just his card is just flapping around in his breeze, just bouncing off his hip.
I don't need to keep going on about the Ebon power or whatever, but the format's really cool. You could build a $200 deck. You could build a 200 Aurochs deck like Duncan Xanadude up in Boston area, you know, or like right now I have Necro together, which is awesome.
So
not
for me,
that anyone wants to play against Necro, but we're playing for cards. So.
For me, I think there's a very at least in my experience so far, that there's a real dichotomy in between like the decks that are always trying to or probably always will win, like Simon Christie's deck that I played against at YetiCon, or like the pile of turd that Joel Demir handed me to play against DFB with at MobsterCon, which is like a Tron deck with discs in it that's like trying to get a diabolic machine into play. And I got completely rolled by Yavimaya ants. So it's like it's kind of tough when like there's ante at stake, but there's like and the same thing you said about any tournament. But when you're actually losing cards, like you want to play against somebody multiple games, but if you know you're just gonna lose every single game you play. So I almost feel like it's best to have like two decks, right? Like one that's like competitive and the other one's like trying to do fun stuff. Because like for me, like I my thought going into this is like, okay, this is like a fun thing that people are doing, but it's pretty clear that people are taking it very, very seriously, as many people will do. Like just.
Well, do you want to roll up with the $10 deck and have nothing of value to lose, or do you want to roll up with the $300 deck and maybe lose a $20 card? You know, it's like what do you want out of this?
We'll talk about my Stasis deck later, but I got Enlightened Tutor in this bad boy, so it's not about that. It's more about the
Enlightened Tutor in a AAA deck.
I don't know. This is from something else. My bad.
Yeah, I was going to say that is.
I got some darker.
One set too.
I got some darker wastes in here, and like. It's not about the value of the cards. It's more like what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I played against who's it, Joe Singer and he was playing black, and his deck was clearly better than mine. But yeah, I played a couple games. I mean, he didn't win. I don't know. I don't think he won much off me, but I wasn't bringing much to the table. So you do get those kind of decks, but you do get also other types of decks that are not as powerful and still fun. I have been. One of my decks is as a Thallid kind of based deck that makes a lot of creatures, and that's been doing pretty well. I only maybe lost one time so far, and I played like 5 or 6 games at least. So
Kesa, you got Kesa in there?
Yeah, I got 2 or 3 copies of Kesa. She's pretty good. So
nice.
And we might be getting I guess the deck that I think that's my favorite deck right now that I'm playing. I like that. I like it's green, red, black, and it plays Misfortune, which is an alliances card that is kind of one of those option cards. Your opponent can pick 2 different things, but they're both kind of bad. But so
modal.
It's a for the new players called modal.
Yeah. Here, I'll bring it up real quick. It's actually funny you brought that up, Andy. I can't remember if we talked about this already, but Andy was like actually playing Tim Moran at YetiCon.
Yeah, had some.
And Andy cast this card, and Tim didn't know what it did, and he passed it back over, and he's just like, yeah, it's pretty good.
And it just gets better if you have a lot of little dudes. So, are you pulling it up? I was going to tell you.
Okay, I got it up on the screen here.
You could probably tell us what it does, just so I don't mess up.
All right, red, black, green, 1 sorcery. Target opponent chooses 1. You put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control and gain 4 life, or you put a -1/-1 counter on each creature that opponent controls, and Misfortune deals 4 damage to him or her.
It should be an It'd be awesome if it was an instant, but I'll take it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it's a. I don't remember that card.
Yeah, nobody does. The
I had maybe if someone put one in the prize pool in an event and got it all signed, and I went home with it, I would remember it. That but this is what I'm saying. It's funny you mentioned playing against Joe. I played against Joe playing AAA at Moogie's a couple nights before LobsterCon, and I ended up walking away with like an incinerate and a pillage from him.
Nice.
And because I have cards with his name on them and everything, I can remember the night that I almost lost a Chaos Orb to DFB, which is totally unrelated, but that was wild. That was really wild. I top decked exactly what I needed to be able to go bird or go tutor for a bird to get my ante out of there, and Chaos Orb was actual like 40k, and it wasn't even my deck, but I almost lost the Chaos Orb. That would have been really bad. But that's a reminder of that night, like in the games with Joe, obviously. But
so you have two decks then, right? Parshall, you have your.
I only have the one put together right now
with the Evans stuff or without.
Oh, I have it without.
So what are you rocking?
I just have mono black necro.
Yeah, it seems good.
4 hands, like 6 pump knights, 4 hippies,
sure,
4 necros, a couple discs, a couple Zern orbs, demonic tutor, demonic consultation, jeweled bird, contract from below, 4 strips, 4 factories.
What's your take on jeweled bird?
Contagion. Contagion's nice.
Contagion's good. Yeah.
4 rituals. It's a couple 3 drain life, I think. What's my take on what?
Jewel bird.
I mean, we could jump. What's your take on jeweled bird? You think restricted is the spot for it in AAA? I mean, I could see it being 4 of in any 40k because you're playing with like, $1,000 cards, $500 cards. But in this, I think it's a little bit.
I think it's fine for it to be restricted to 1.
Yeah, well, because I have played people that have 4 in the deck, and it is a little tedious when they're drawing them and just like cantripping off them, and then like they steal back a.
You can respond to them with Disenchant or Shatter.
Yeah, I know the fucking card works, Will. That's not the point. I'm just saying, like, it's if you're not trying to steal back a Mox with it, right? I mean, I guess like you have like a DT or a Soul Ring or something like that, like pull back value with it. I just think having it be a 4 of that pretty much makes it a 4 of like auto include. So I feel like having it as a restricted card.
I mean, does it though? My thing is that you could play the white bordered Chronicles or whatever Jewel Bird. It's like what, $1? Not even. I mean, it's not even worth. The only reason to play it would be to thin out your deck and play less than 60 cards.
No, so that's what I mean. Like at the card unrestricted, it kind of makes it an auto clue to just put 4 in your deck because it is a cantrip and it is a cheap card and it costs nothing to play. So I feel like restricted is probably the right spot for it.
Personally. So here's an interesting thing, right? So when anti-40k kind of first started taking off. Mike France came up with the idea to do this alter ante event. So we ended up having like an actual event for it, but it was a side event at our cabin like 2 or 3 years ago. And basically, you just play regular anti-40k, but with proxies, and if you lose a card,
So Mike,
you draw on it.
Mike had assigned like almost like a poker tournament, a certain value to these cards, and your deck could only like be like however much or whatever. But then like as the day progressed, you had the proxy anti cards that you would like draw them on, right, and then lose them to people, and then
right, and you could pour any of the cards that you want, so you could have 2 Soul Rings, or you have. Like I had a second mana drain by the end of the day, which was really cool. But we had jeweled birds in that first version of it, and at the end of the day, I was just like, jeweled bird just shouldn't even be in this format at all. And then he ended up.
Well, on that, you're playing with
hosting
fake cards. So
another
who gives a
event.
shit?
Right, but even like if you're playing with AAA cards, who gives a shit?
And he's dumbfounded right now. No,
you get what I'm saying? Like, I say get rid of the bird altogether in AAA.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think.
Play birds.
Sure. That's probably more my take. I think the problem is like you were just saying about misfortune, right? So like when I first was like wrapping my head around this, I'm like, this is sweet. I want to play unsleeved decks and like swap cards like we used to when we were kids. And like my friend group was actually like savages, so like you couldn't anti-land like with my friends there. I mean, if you cut a land, you kept cutting until you actually got an actual card. Even if it's like a land wore off, like
even that is not that savage. I mean, when I play AAA, I don't want a jewel bird that you've altered. I mean, if I play 40K, right, yeah, maybe I want a jewel bird that you altered. But in AAA, I don't want a Chronicles jewel bird that you altered. Wouldn't you guys rather have one of my, like, I don't know, Thala Devourers or Misfortune or something that says, oh, okay, makes sense, instead of a jewel bird? It turns into a bunch of jewel birds. It just, I don't know.
Yeah. I could see that being the thing for anti 40K, where there's a lot more money at stake, and it's almost like a gag, right? We're just swapping birds back and forth. But with this, where the cards aren't worth much, if anything, like you want to be exchanging something that's not just the jewel bird, unless that's what you want to be doing, in which case, like, I don't know, fucking have at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want a stack of Chronicles jewel birds.
No, but nobody does.
I don't, but if everyone else is going to play them, I'm going to play them too. And I didn't know until LobsterCon that the jewel bird gets all of your cards that you've anteed so far this game.
So far,
Anti-zone. So if you contracted before you activate your jewel bird, that's pretty good. Because then you get
both. Yeah.
Now you're only risking a jewel bird instead of 2 cards.
I contracted versus Andy and still subsequently lost the game. And I think you got a factory and something else off that one game, which made me slightly salty. But
you were just like, one more time. Let's do it one more time. Jared, why don't we go to sleep? No. That's one more time.
3 games, lost 4 cards. Awesome. Although I have heard that anecdotally, like just because you cast contract does not mean you're going to win the game. But I found that to be true. But I'm also not very good at this, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, you do have to ask yourself, am I going to win here? Is it worth it? I don't know.
Maybe it's similar for you, Andy, but like for me, it was like when I went back and it looks like, okay, I'll do alliances. Like I cracked alliances packs when I was a kid, but like kind of like looking at Misfortune, it's like I don't remember that fucking card, right? Like as it turns out, when you look at alliances, like I don't remember most of this set because like you probably weren't playing with a lot of the stuff. Like even if you think about like the formats, like this, if you were to build like a best deck, like how many actual alliances cards would be in it? You know what I mean? Like how many people can name a card in alliances that's not like Lake of the Dead or Force of Will? You know what I mean? Like
I can start naming cards.
No,
I'm not going to.
You're missing. You're missing the point. So when I was like looking at these, like there's like tons of sweet cards like that are in there. And I was mentally, I was thinking like I want to build like cool decks with these cards, not play against fucking Black Vice, 8-bolt shit. And that's still what I'm playing against. It was like, all right, cool. I'll give you a couple cards.
Well,
incinerates.
Well, the other good thing about Anti is that like if your opponent's playing that, you could say, all right, good game, that's it, I don't want to play anymore. Just go to somebody else and play somebody else.
That's true. But I do feel like you should almost have two decks. Like have a competitive deck and then have another deck that's like trying to do something cool. And not everyone's gonna want to do that, but like that was kind of my idea. So I actually wound up building like multiple decks to have one that was like more competitive, like a red-green deck that's just like burning beaters, and then build a couple more fun piles, quote unquote. Yeah, although I also have a stasis deck, so I guess that's not terribly fun.
I mean, maybe I should put some bullshit decks together for it to be like more of a selling point, because I have people who just like, even though they have a AAA deck, they just don't even want to play against me. So I guess I have like no
This
spiky
is the
deck for
point.
the spikes.
Right.
Because those are the only people who fucking play against me.
This is
Like,
the-
otherwise
this-
people are like,
Right. This is the point I was trying to surface. Like, I didn't even have time to figure out what Joel's deck was trying to do by the time like DFB like completely blew me out by like turn 4 or 5 or whatever it was. And it is supposed to be more fun and casual, but it's like that Spike Spice mentality, I guess, where like, you know, do you want to win this or do you want to have a fun game of Magic, right? Like I don't know, but that's my perspective, and it's just one idiot's opinion, I suppose. I think it's awesome, and I want to play more of it.
To be fair, if you have two competitive decks against each other, that can also be fun and is also fun sometimes. So there is that. Have you guys played with the full pain lands? The what is it, Apocalypse? You done that or not yet?
we haven't, but I think that's in the Cincinnati addendum.
That's part of
they changed it.
Yeah.
And
It makes sense. I mean, it opens up a lot of space for brewing. I think it's a good idea personally.
It's just I haven't had the opportunity to go to like a local meetup down in South Central PA with those guys in some amount of months. They only get together like once a month, and then we do like our annual stuff. And then there's a bunch of the dudes that like travel to a bunch of the events. Like there was a handful of older guys at the AB40, which was cool. But we're not really bringing like AAA to something like that, you know. But as like events approach or whatever, it was like I feel like it's more like the AAA is better for like the cabin type events, you know, where you're just hanging out for the weekend and like it's a good like kind of filler thing. But I don't know. I don't find myself playing it a lot, like just on the side at an actual like tournament. If that makes sense.
I've been hoping it would kind of like blossom into like every event you go to, like everyone's got one of the decks with them because they're so inexpensive to build. You do something fun.
I mean,
with
I
it,
have
it's
one,
like,
you know.
Yeah, no.
Or it's good, like if you're like out of town, you're staying somewhere for the weekend. Like it's a good like weekend long thing to bring with you, you know, where it's like okay, like a meetup the night before or something, or at the bar having beers and like playing some ante, you know. I mean, that's kind of when it gets played.
I think it's probably just endemic of the sisters. And I brought this up on like an earlier pod that like you know, like we play more scryings than like anyone else, like by far, right? So like everyone's always stoked to like play scryings or whatever. And it doesn't seem like AAA is kind of caught on it in that way. And you know, the point I made is like people just don't like losing stuff, I guess. And I don't know, maybe that's just the sisters. I'm sure I know all the older guys, like, you know, they're all packing decks at all times. So I was kind of hoping it would like turn into that, but I guess, you know, be the change. So maybe I'll start pushing people to build and brew more stuff out of like a bunch of jank. It's just something to take less seriously, I guess, or like, you know, kind of the same level of serious, but also have a little bit more fun with, I suppose.
So I totally forgot, but Limbacher had actually sent the new Ebon Power to France, and it got handed out amongst everyone because it was encouraged to play AAA throughout the weekend. And the cool thing about I don't necessarily remember how they all work, but I'm pretty sure like so it started off with them having like the 4 mocks is everything but Sapphire. I don't know if they made a Sapphire or not, but the Lotus and the blue pieces of power, when you cast them, you put them in your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, and maybe that's how all of them should have been from the get-go. I don't know, but I thought that was cool. So we had those to play with.
That's a great idea. Like, it just kind of adds more to like the communal sense of like what you're doing it for, right? You're not playing this to be powerful and win all the time because you know if you cast it, your opponent's walking away with it, whether you win or lose.
Right. It's like, how bad do I want to give this card away? You know.
Right.
But I mean that's really what the nature of it is the giving portion, and instead of looking at losing cards as losing cards when you're playing ante, you should ask yourself the question on, am I okay with giving this to somebody else?
Sure.
Like that's kind of like I was talking to Will about this, and he was like, "Oh well, should I play this Library of Alexandria in my deck, even though I'm already at like the amount that I need to be at to be playing this format?" And I was like, obviously, it makes your deck better for it to be in there.
Sure.
So the question is, are you okay with one of your friends walking away with this card?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're okay with one of your friends walking away with this card, then you might as well throw it in.
Sure.
You know.
I don't even think about that. All I think about is like new cards I get to play with, and I just want to be casting deflection or casting cards that I haven't gotten to cast. That's my MO. I don't know.
So to that end, I kind of wanted to talk about that because, like, there are people out there playing middle school analysis and that kind of thing, but these are cards that you're not seeing certainly at all in old school. So like when I got to, looking through, not so much Ice Age because I remember most of the misery that's in that set, but like Alliances specifically. So like if you guys want to do like a little bit of a round table, just like cool cards that you like add into like specific archetypes that are like fun to or cool to add in that you don't typically see in old school decks. You can go ahead and start.
I guess I already started. I mentioned Deflection. I love that card. It's the blue fork, but better, I guess. And I remember playing with it when I was younger, and I don't know. I think it's really cool.
Do you brew? Are you brewing around Deflection, or you just having it as a fun?
I don't. I think. I mean, I have a deck right now that runs it. I don't know if it's a Deflection deck. I don't even know what that would look like, but it's kind of blue white, and it has a lot of walls, and it's kind of turtley.
I can literally hear the thought inside of Parshall's head saying, even he said, "I don't know what it would look like." He like, it would look like shit. That's what it would look like.
Yeah. You brew it up. In theory, it's good. You go play, and you have like 3 deflections in your hand, and then they play nothing but creatures.
Yeah.
and you get your face pounded.
That's a card that I would like as a one of.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, in AAA specifically, like maybe a one of. I think that's a totally reasonable card. My favorite card that I would want to build around in the Alice space is Stormbind.
Oh, sure.
I love Stormbind.
Well, that goes to our overlap with Scrying, so that's one of the cards we're very familiar with. But yeah, Stormbind is an absolute beating. Do you want to read that off, Andy, for because
I know what it does.
Well, I know fucking you know what it does, Parshall, but like again, not everyone plays like.
He doesn't need to read it. He doesn't need to read it.
There's other people listening to this that might not know what Stormbind does. And
it's a sweet card. Red green one.
Oh my god.
Enchantment.
Yep.
Pay 2 colorless mana. Discard a card at random.
Yeah.
Deal 2 damage to target creature or player.
Sure.
Green red one.
Green red one.
Oh, okay. I thought you said green one. It's green red. Okay. But yeah, that's a great card. Great card.
So what kind of shell are you putting Stormbind in?
I have it in my Thala deck because I'm already playing red and green. So I was like, well, might as well.
Yeah, it's kind of an auto include. You could put it in some sort of cool Howling Mind deck. If probably 96, I was like really into like this kind of it's like a white control deck, but with some red and green cards in it, and most notably Stormbind. I think there was like a Regrowth. It's definitely Lightning Bolts, probably a couple Fireballs, but then like Wrath of Gods, Howling Minds, Ices, stuff like that. It was a pretty cool deck. I don't think it had any creatures.
Did you run Exile? Another card I love. In white.
Exile's pretty sweet.
It's white 3 instant, right?
White 2. White 2 instant, remove target non-white attacking creature from the game and gain life equal to its toughness.
Ooh,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, it's kind of a blowout against certain decks, you know.
Put that on a deck with Cry Shield.
What?
Cry
Wait,
Shield.
Cry Shield, you can only do it on your creatures, though, right?
Really? I thought it was just target creature.
I mean, maybe.
I'm just spitballing here.
Crush.
No, it's only on your creatures.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, that'd be pretty busted in Sisterton. Otherwise, you start pumping and making alliances, and pumping your opponent or like your ally, not quite teammate, but your ally. It's like, oh, I'll help you kill that thing in combat.
As always, forget I said anything. But yeah.
Why are you even here?
I don't know. The life gain component on that card is berserk there. It's really good.
Yeah.
Cry Shield.
Legends, right?
Yeah, Legends uncommon.
Yeah.
Another
card that I really like from those Alice sets. Serrated Arrows isn't bad. That's also included. We didn't really touch on Homelands at all.
Well, it's because there's not much to include from Homelands.
Right. Eastsong Shade's probably a little too slow, but
you play Reanimator, it's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. Andy's got a favorite from Homelands, so Andy.
From Homelands?
Yeah. You got the combo in that deck you were talking about, right? The Autocrat.
Fallen Angel.
Oh yeah. The Scavenger Autocrat Hecatomb.
Oh,
is that what you're talking about? Hecatomb is great. Love it.
Hecatomb's pretty sweet. So my first game of AAA against Limbacher, he was actually playing a Cornerspell Hecatomb Fallen Angel Singular Autocrat deck, and it was pretty wild.
See, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about right there. Like that's spicy. Is he playing?
He should play. He should splash in some Misfortunes. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Splash them in there with the Hecatomb.
Yeah, but that's also a really good one.
Yeah, Hecatomb. Well, I haven't cast that card in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
Close to 30 years. I probably cast it somewhere in that 95, 96 era, and that was about it.
I remember Hecatomb will always remind me of a day. It was a Gray Matter event back in, I don't know, probably 96 or 95 or something. And we played Grand Chaos. It was they organized the Grand Chaos, which is basically a multiplayer, 50-player multiplayer. They had this huge table. Well, it wasn't a table. It was just tables they put together in a huge circle, and they had markers every 4 players or so, and maybe they'd be like 10 markers, and everybody that has a marker would take their turn, and it would just rotate clockwise, and that's how they would do it. And basically your sphere of influence would be 2 players to the right and left, right? And as people would lose, the circle of players would get smaller and smaller until there was one winner at the end. And this was Grand Melee, and it was only, I don't know if it was ever played again, but my cousin and I were playing that, and one of my friends was playing that as well, and he was sitting, like, I guess next to me next to me, and it was the Wild West of Magic. So suffice it to say, he said, "Hey man, cut my deck, but don't cut my deck." Right. So it's like, I cut his deck, and he already had his opening 7 in his hand, and he put it on top, and he drew his opening hand was a first turn Hecatomb. I forget how he did it, but he put out 4 creatures. I think it was with Scavenger Autocrat, put a Dark Ritual, whatever, and he had a first turn Hecatomb for the pretty much the whole tournament. But
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
What's like 7 mana, 4 creatures, whatever it is.
Some like insanely improbable hand, but there's so many players. Nobody said anything.
Andy, your cousin's a dirtbag.
No, it wasn't my cousin. My friend. My friend was there.
Oh,
One of my friends. I don't know. I don't even talk to him. I haven't talked to him in like 30
Well,
years. But
I'm gonna take a few minutes. I'll be right back.
and
Parshall's got to go, deal with his nicotine habit.
Hey,
I'm sure he was not the only one who cheated in that tournament. But anyway, that is my Hecatomb story, and that always brings back some memories. It was fun. What are you rocking right now in AAA, Jared? Do you have a?
Oh no, I'm not playing anything because no one out here plays it. Let's see. I've got a fun like black artifact deck with a bunch of Brassmen, Kildoran Dead, Fallen Angel, Breeding Pit, like Drain Life kind of thing going on. That's been fun to play. I got Triskelions in here just because value. But the one of my favesy cards out of Alliances is Ritual of the Machine. I have
Ritual
that.
Machine, yeah.
Yeah. So two black, 2 sack a creature to gain control of target non-black, non-artifact creature, which is pretty good on a spent trike or something like that, or to get the. I think I have Ornithopters in here. Yeah.
I always wanted to make that work, Ritual of the Machine. It's rare that the colors kind of go off their typical color pie, and having a control magic in black is
Yeah.
pretty rare. I think. I don't know about modern card but
well, having a control magic for a live creature at least, right? Because black typically does that with dead stuff.
Right.
I do have Seizures in here as well, which is it's one of those fun cards that it's an aura that's actually kind of playable because you're putting it on your opponent's creatures, but it's black 1, and whenever target creature becomes tapped, that creature's controller pays 3 colorless, or Seizures deals 3 damage to him or her. So like having a bolt on a stick if you have like an icy in play seemed pretty fun. So this is one I've been messing with a bit. I wanted to talk about my Chronotog Stasis list, but I actually disassembled that to build the Scrying's deck, so I don't even have it together anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My bad.
Scrying's takes precedence, I think.
Scrying's definitely takes precedence,
especially with the Stormcrow
Cup. Yeah,
Cup
shout
coming
out
up.
to Philly. Yeah. If anyone's interested in playing some Scryings, finally March 15th in Philly. The Philly OS guys are hosting a Scryings event, which are few and far between, unfortunately. And if you're not into it, check it out. It's definitely a fun addition to the old school card pool. And us sisters, we've really been digging it.
Yeah, we've been practicing. Although I'm not going to go, but I would if I could. But unfortunately, cannot. I think that I think those are all the things. I mean, the only other thing I have right now is I'm heading out there in March, a couple of weeks.
We're all very much looking forward.
I know you guys are all looking forward to that.
We're a Twitter. We're a Twitter with excitement and anxiousness.
The Sisters of the Flame have been doing a monthly-esque tournament series in preparation for LobsterCon 2025, the old school LobsterCon.
Everyone's working on their Swedish chops right now because
everybody's sharpening their knives.
They want to bring that shark home.
Yeah, everybody wants to win. All the sisters want to win a shark, so they've been play testing, and Seth Roncaroni has set up and Paul De Silva have set up a kind of monthly tournament series, which is really cool. Where I guess half the day is spent on Swedish, and then the other half is a random thing. And I think last month they did. What did they do last month?
it was World Championship '97 decks, which was like like fourth edition through End of Mirage block, I think. Fifth edition through End of
Right.
Mirage.
So that was pretty well received.
Right.
In fifth edition. It's a cool format. The Jacob Slemmer deck, the Slemmer
Slammer, yeah.
That I vividly recall playing something very similar to that back in that time, and it's a great deck. I've not been able to attend one of these sisters gatherings playing that yet, but I would love to.
Well, they've only done it twice so far.
I know, but I missed both opportunities due to scheduling or whatever.
Did we have the February one already, or is that at the end? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. The February one is in 2 weeks. The same week as Chalice, and then the March one is going to be on March 8th, 7th, or 8th. So that's second weekend. So
I can only make so many, and I think I'm going to try and get to the Philly Scryings event. I think it's March 15th.
15th, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll send you the link.
I verbally signed it. I think I signed it.
Yeah. You got to sign it.
I think I signed it.
I'm in.
I told Dan I was in. So he knows.
You're fine. You're fine.
So you stoked for Chalice, Andy? Have you been brewing anything with the
I'm gonna be playing the deck that I've been practicing with. That you've played against a couple of times, and
you're not gonna leak any information on that front, I'm sure. Right?
No, but I think it I actually, if it continues to do well, I don't know. Maybe I'll play in LobsterCon. Who knows? But
when did it start doing well?
Every time I play you, but then when I play somebody else, it doesn't do well. So
is this we gotta
or no.
No, which we did.
That is so cool.
We did not cover that. So
speaking of which, if you guys have listened to All Things Considered new episode, shout out to Brian Manalakos, he put it to rest. No more questions. He apparently he hung out with Aaron Forsyth and asked him whether this combo actually works, and Aaron said, pretty sure it does. I'm not 100%. And he spoke to someone else who's very high up there in terms of rules and he gave his blessing that yes, indeed, the combo works. So
as if there was ever really any doubt,
I wasn't doubting it, but there's, there are people out there. So
how much mana does that combo take to get off?
Too many.
14 mana or something?
Too many. 4. I mean, if you're gonna do it all in one turn, it's 4, 5, 10, 14 wins, and 4. It's like 18 mana. But I mean, you're not gonna do it all in one turn. Who does it all in one turn?
Just you gotta figure out how to get channel in there. The one you're off Haunting Wind though. You're fully on. Artifact.
Yeah, Haunting Wind has been changed. It's Artifact Possession is the new Haunting Wind. It's strictly better. It does the same thing and it's strictly better. So I brewed a little bit, but I haven't played it, and that's a deck that you have to go into the mindset, and you have to be there. You're going to be playing Magic all day. It's a grind. It's like you're not going to have any time between rounds. It's tough to get in there, especially for a long tournament. And I don't know if I want to do that for LobsterCon.
You are not playing that at LobsterCon.
I was toying with it last time, but I was like,
you were
9 rounds. Oh my god!
So what else is going on at Chalice? So you only have to bring one constructed deck, right? And then the rest of it's just whatever.
2. They have a mono green in the woods thing that they do, which I'm probably going to pass on. But they do have a mono red kind of spicy thing, which apparently if
you hear about
you
this, Parshall?
if
They're doing
you
like a hot ones kind of thing where like if you like you take a chicken nugget or a piece of cauliflower if you're Andy and like you could like dip it or like do a hot ones kind of thing where you like put it in like some varying level of hot sauce, take it, and then like, you get like a mana flare emblem for that game, like for everyone that you eat or something like that.
no, I think you can only do it once. You can only do it once per game or something.
Oh, that's for him. Yeah.
But I was planning on eating the hot wings anyway, so it's a free roll for me. So
Yeah, I like some spice. That the Chalice event is one that has eluded me so far, but I intend to
yeah,
try hard to make it next time.
it's a trek. It's a trek. It's a long flight out to the West Coast, but
Yeah,
Shout out to Joe Nash who didn't get me an invite. Good looking out.
just shout out somebody who didn't do something for you.
leave the Yeti alone.
Jared, just try harder, Jared. You're not trying hard enough.
I can't. I literally can't. Did you hear Ty's going now? I guess he got bumped up the wait list, so you get to hang out with Ty at least.
I did. I heard he's going.
Nice.
The Redwoods is a very special place for me. I grew up in Los Angeles, and as a child, my dad and I went up to the Redwoods, go backpacking and camping and stuff a lot. It's just if you've never been there, there's really nothing like it. It's amazing.
If you've never seen like the old photos of like dudes, like the black and whites and dudes in like the redwood forest, and like a dude standing next to this tree, and you're like, that looks fake. The tree's so fucking big, right? Like it's
Right.
like it's absurd.
Yeah,
Really cool.
The absurdity of it is definitely. It's really amazing. There's two places on this planet that I've felt that kind of energy, and like being up in the redwoods is one of them, and then Sedona in Arizona is kind of the other one. I'm looking forward to being there at the end of next week. I'll be up in Sedona for a couple days, gonna play some old school with Billy O'Sullivan while I'm up there, hang out with him, do a hike and stuff. So that should be a good time. Yeah, Redwoods is also just the energy is just amazing. So I would totally play some giant spiders and crawworms, sleeveless, and somewhere.
Do you have an unsleeved green deck for that, Andy, or are you?
No, I think it's part of a hike, and there's just a lot of stuff to do in the weekend, and you got to pick and choose. So
you're a city boy. That doesn't appeal to you.
Yeah.
You don't want to cast Killer 7?
Some other stuff on the agenda.
You don't want to get a little moss on your monster, Andy.
No.
You don't want a little crawl on your worm.
No spit on my slug. Yeah. No, I think I'll pass. But all right, so
Well, before we conclude this, I do want to toot my own horn a little bit. I just got a post on Facebook yesterday from the Neos, and my Winter Derby deck was highlighted.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Like UFB. So I did get a little shout out, and I got the most likes so far. So hopefully I get myself a Winter Derby Spice Prize if it works.
I voted for you.
Sweet.
It's funny. Someone messaged me and said this is unsolicited, but go vote for a Derby deck. And I woke up to that this morning.
Oh, really? Oh, no way.
And I went on and...
Wait, did you vote on it knowing that it was Jared's deck, or you were just like, okay, this one's good?
Then I would have not received that vote.
It's fine.
The person who messaged me was not Jared.
Oh, okay, all right.
But
I would never go to that level. I would never go to that level of self promotion. While I was honored, I would not coach people into slamming the like button.
Just someone else that I know is like, hey, put a vote in. I don't know if their name is also up there, but I did vote for their deck. I voted for after I looked at them all, and like I remembered him showing me this deck, and it's pretty cool, you know.
I did wind up 3-5, so it wasn't
okay. All right, that's not terrible.
Well, you said you had an incredible game against the deck, right?
Yeah, both my games against the deck were really good because it's so grindy. I had out of the 4 games, I had them down to 1, and 3 cards in their library, and then the fourth card, the fourth game against the fourth game in total against Noah Shannon, you want to beat me with Sarah's after he realized that like he couldn't let my creature stay on the board. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But like yeah, pod 1, I played against the deck twice, 12 bolt and Lion Dip bolt. So I was probably never winning those games, but I got obviously being down towards the lower end of the table for the second half. But I did wind up playing against Ryan Gresco. He was my loss in batch 2, who was playing a sweet like fast bomb candle flare list, and blew me out for a couple, which was sweet. But,
he's really been on that fast bond thing.
So I'm looking at this.
He likes his lands, that guy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this this deck tech or this list here.
Yeah.
Did I miss the Cauldron Stasis deck tech?
So I had taken some of the cards out, but like I had taken a bunch of the cards out to build the Scryings deck, so we're just not doing it. But
Yeah,
we're
just
okay. Well, so the card of the day on Neos the other day was Fast Bond, and someone had mentioned diminishing returns is probably very good with Fast Bond.
Yeah.
And I think you can also do some really crazy stuff with the Storm Cauldron and Fast Bond.
Yeah.
And make a bajillion mana, sack your lands to Zern Orb and stuff, and kind of just make a really fun, interesting, big fireball type deck out of that.
Okay.
Yeah, there was one guy at Bootleggers Ball that had a Stone Cauldron deck that utilized, because I think diminishing returns is unrestricted, and so he played 4 diminishing returns and Stone Cauldron, Fast Bond, Zern Orb shenanigans, and yeah, I was lucky enough to play against him, and yeah, he went off several times.
what?
Against my
against complicated, like the sequencing and everything, or was it like kind of pretty straightforward?
I don't remember it being that complicated. It was, it was definitely yeah, it was like playing against Twitterwalt. That's what it felt like.
Did he have High Tide in there?
Did he have High Tide? Now you're putting me on the spot. I think he may have.
Because High Tide seems like a cool one or Mana Flare or whatever you want to be. High Tide seems like maybe better, but I don't know. They're just spitballing ideas here. I've never seen anyone play this deck, but it was a thought that I had recently with the Storm Cauldron using Fast Bonds or whatever. But do you want to risk losing a Fast Bond? It's like,
oh yeah, I don't give a shit about that. I have this whole revised binder back here that I like routinely just give away all the time. So yeah, I would definitely
the binder.
Most people have denuded it are already since I offer it up to everyone. So it's like it's mostly ghost ready. But like yeah, Storm Cauldron's another sweet card. But 5 mana though, you got to get there. What set is diminishing returns it again? I know they're reprinting fifth. It is Alliances. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a really cool card. I mean, that's another sweet build around card for sure.
But yeah, that was just kind of revisiting. Well, when I stepped outside, I was having a cigarette. I was like, oh, that was a card that I was thinking about. Like, be cool to potentially build around, and then I was reminded of it on this piece of paper right here in front of me.
I did buy. I think I went out of my way and bought 6 of them, just because I knew I was going to be.
So
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I pulled it up. So his deck, now I remember. So his deck played Fast Bond, Storm Cauldron, Diminishing Returns, 4 of each. Also played Glacial Chasm, and that was his.
Yeah, sure.
That was his I guess his combo, since you can Fast Bond without losing life because of the Glacial Chasm.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
So you can keep doing it that way with, and
he's got to play Zern Orb, right, to stay alive.
He's got the Zern Orb. Did he even play Zern Orb? I actually don't see a Zern Orb.
Like almost no one had Zern Orbs in their deck, which was insane to me.
Yeah, Zern Orb is incredibly broken.
Yeah, I'm gonna put
especially in AAA.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like Glacial Chasm, though, it's like, oh, you only need to play it once, though, right?
Right, you just play it out and you're not losing any more life.
Right.
And then you had accelerators like Elvish Spirit Guide and Mana Vaults and
Sure.
a bunch of restricted cards and fireballs. So
And this is a AAA deck.
this is a AAA deck. Yep,
Okay, he came to game.
he did. He came in 10th. Not bad, but I think he may. He was in this. He was in the discussion for spiciest deck.
This is not. This is anti, or this is just
No, this is AAA regular.
Oh,
so
just Alpha 2 Alliance.
yeah, so fully powered. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking this was Alpha 2 Alliances anti.
No, this is the tournament, and it was like fully powered and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I recall that now.
Yeah.
That being, yeah, how was that event?
It was good. It was fun. I
was listening to your pod on it a few weeks back. I don't know if I got through all of it. You gotta
listen to it on 2X.
You gotta
when I'm like driving to a Magic event. That's when I listen to pods, is when I'm on my way to another Magic event.
Yeah, my take-home message from the Alpha Beta tournament is that everybody should be listening to our podcast at 1.5x because it makes us much more funny.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's gonna be. Thanks for that.
Sound like the fucking chipmunks.
Well, it's not that quite high. Like it's just fast enough where it's not like it doesn't bother you the speed, but you definitely you notice that our
you get used to it after a minute or two.
Yeah, it's not like someone like rewinding a tape like really fast. I mean, like, it's not like this.
It's not quite that.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
pushing on normal speed like a regular guy.
Well, anyway, it sounds like we're all getting old and tired here. But again, check out Will Yagmoth Demon Altars.
Yeah.
We'll I'll finally coax some photos out of him, even though I've been asking him for 2 fucking months now to send them to me.
They're on my Facebook page, man.
Oh yes,
really
check out his Facebook
There's
page.
tons of pictures. I've put up in the past 6 months or whatever is up there, you know.
Yeah. But I want to thank you, Will, for coming on and
thanks for having me, guys.
Hanging out for a while.
Yeah.
And
suffering this nonsense.
No, but it was good talk.
They know I'm more than happy to be a part of the nonsense. So.
Here's to the nonsense. All right, guys. I think they're good. Take it easy.
So I think I think we'll probably. What were we gonna say, Andy? Go ahead.
No. Go.
I was gonna say, well, probably next time we'll talk about your adventures of Chalice and whatever else we could dig.
Yeah,
up.
we'll think of something.
Well,
sure. So, guys, we probably should have said in the beginning, but bottomlessvault.com. Don't forget, click and subscribe, and can't wait to do an episode 4. All right. Okay, another one in the books.
Sweet, bro. We'll have to call that one Will Parshall Potpourri because it was a total fuck mess.
Potpourri and more. No, I think it was good. I think we covered a lot of topics, but I think we hadn't gone. Oh yeah, shout out to
stick to the script, Vaquero.
Good.
Stick to the script.
I give him a hard time, but Jared's actually a semi-decent producer. It shows that he cares and he's somewhat organized. So I appreciate you, Jared. Now that we're off air, I just want to say this.
Don't ever say anything nice to me ever again. Because even if you meant it, it still sounds disingenuous.
Because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, wait, yeah, actually, it's pretty good. He's on top of things. He makes a halfway decent producer.
It does kind of come off as just.
That's what I'm here for. But
So,
I mean,
you watch?
No, Oath sucks. I do have the leftover remnants of this Aether Revolt box though.
Alright, let me rip a pack.
Well,
We're ripping a pack to
Well,
get this.
when we
we're ripping it to see what we get. What's the chase? What are we looking for?
Well, what we did, so I brought this specifically when we did Booster Tutor because these have the Kaladesh inventions in them. So you could open like one of those.
Oh, the Soul Ring.
Well,
Mana Vault.
Kaladesh boxes. I think these have like. These don't have like the most expensive ones, but they're in there.
Oh, there's a Ka. I like this fucking guy actually.
I don't know any of these cards.
Black 2/3, Death Touch and Lifeline. Pretty good. All right.
OP.
It was good. It was good in this format and in draft anyway. There's your rare. It's like a shitty Dark Confidant.
I like how you know what these are just by looking at them.
I used to play a lot of Magic cards that were like new.
Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
It's like a shitty bomb.